I feel like the new part of me in my 30s as a dad, I'm spending more time appreciating my introverted self and finding like what that means to me.
I just had such an engaging conversation with Apurva Shah. Apurva was talking to me about his family, which is his passion, his core, his center, his wife, Amy, his son, Liam, and his daughter, Ailey. He also talked about his path to his current role at C&G and the impact, not only that he's had at C&G, but how the company has impacted him. You can see it in how he shows up every day. I think you're going to really enjoy hearing from Apurva Shah. Today, my guest is Apurva Shah. Apurva, welcome to our People, Our Purpose podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm super excited. You know, you and I go way back, and I'm interested in hearing more of your story, and I'm sure our listeners are interested in your story as well. So first, let's start with tell us, what do you do for C&G?
It's a great question. Um, it feels like it varies from day to day, but currently I am the vice president of strategy and customer development, which I feel like harnesses all the things I love to do with the business and our team. I spend time with Dan, Nico, Paul on the commercial side with our brands, supporting, whether it be on a sustainability basis or a big pitch to customers. Get to lead the Go team, which has been really fun over the last 18 months to help drive that part of our strategy. And then I feel like I get my introverted time to really think about deeper, how are we trying to unlock growth? How are we trying to harness the best parts of our business? Um, and that's all connected to driving our strategy. So to me it feels like depending on where my heart, my mind is, I can kind of flex my time working with people all across the organization.
Yeah, I mean, you get to cover a wide spectrum in a role like that, from employees to customers and everything in between. So that's exciting. But that's not the role you started in. Let's start about your journey. Talk about your journey at C&G.
So it's funny, over the last couple days, one of the things I really like is the facial recognition feature on Google Photos.
Mm.
So if upload, decade worth of pictures, you tag your people and your faces, you can find everything, with Kathy on my phone, right? Um, and so I, tagged Superior, Wisconsin and Lexington, and I like looked back over the last 15 years, and got to see like these really just awesome moments how I first got connected to the company. But to address your question, I joined as a market manager in 2017. Doug actually hired me for a couple miles here from near a Starbucks, and so I joined. Was a virtual employee in Chicago, but coming up to Milton all the time when our main office was up there.
Hmm. And you've been in the Chicago office since we opened.
I have been, yeah. It was almost like a dream come true because I was like a virtual employee or a person who works well in offices that was put into a virtual setting. So I never kind of felt like I was in my element until we started the office here, and so it was pretty sweet to start what has become a really beautiful cornerstone for our company, um, with you in the Chicago office during like the thick of COVID.
Yeah, yeah. It was basically you and I here holding down the office. Sometimes Doug, but it was very limited. And look at today. The company continues to grow, and now this is our headquarters.
Yeah, it's funny how an office, can bring so much life to work, and how valuable the water cooler conversations are, and how that opportunity to kind of bond and connect and learn about each other's roles and responsibilities, how important that is, right? Like I feel like I'm very numb to the articles that come out that say, work from or the in office you're back 3 to 5 days, because we didn't have it and now I do have it, and it's just a clear reason why it's so valuable. If we're building a company, you got to be in the office.
Yeah,
If
it's
we're
the
just
relationships.
maintaining a company or just coasting, maybe you can get away from working from
Mhm.
home. So I feel very passionate about the office and what it represents for us.
Well, and you're such a great connector, Apurva. I mean, you're always the one that's, "Let's get together, let's go have a drink, let's go get pizza, let's go, organize a ball game," you're that guy. So, you do a great job with that.
Thank you. I I feel like, if employee ownership is how we're going to drive that, next level for the company, it really starts with building relationships with your
Mhm,
colleagues. And so having a little bit of time to rub shoulders and get to know you from a personal basis, I feel like is the first stepping stone to building that next level journey for
mhm.
us.
Now, you said something earlier I wanna pull apart a little bit. You said your introverted side. Now, would you describe yourself as an introvert or an extrovert?
I would say 75% of me is an extrovert,
Okay.
but I've found, partially from my wife, who's maybe a little bit more introverted, but partially like where I find, um, as I've gotten older, you want to take care of yourself and you want to like build your mind, build your heart, build your body. And I feel like I've found more value in having time as an introvert. And so when I connect it to strategy work, it is, put on your headphones like we are right now and really deeply thinking about what are the things that drive the company, drive you. And so I feel like the new part of me in my 30s as a dad, I'm spending more time appreciating my introverted self and finding like what that means to me.
Yeah, I can relate to that. I would have described myself as complete extrovert in my 20s, 30s, 40s, and now there's the term for it is ambivert. The extrovert, the introverted extrovert or the extroverted introvert, right? So I I would say, yeah, I'm probably 65% extroverted, 35% introverted. And
Yeah,
seems like the older I get, the more that ratio changes,
totally.
to wanting to be more introverted. I like the quiet time for introspection.
Yeah, the word that comes to mind for me is being very deliberate about
Mhm.
the people you surround yourself with, the things you spend time on. I feel like, when you're younger, you're friends with people because of proximity, because of, some shared interests. But now, when we have to make a concerted effort to do something, because you're taking away time from family or work, you've got to just be more deliberate about things. And so I think that's what helps drive my
Mm.
introvertedness. What is driving that? Why am I doing this? Is this something that is the best use of my time? Is it, am I feeding myself as well as, the people that are most important to me? So,
So you mentioned your wife, who, of course, I know, but why don't you tell us about your wife and children?
yeah, gosh, Amy's really fun to talk about because, um, she's like on so many levels the opposite to me. I'm the gas pedal, she's the brake. I'm spontaneous, she's very calculated. She's a planner. I'm, again, love to kind of fly by the seat of my pants. And so it's been a really beautiful development of a marriage over the last 7 years. We have 2 amazing kids. You guys know, I talk about them all the time. Liam, who's 4.5 years old, almost 5, and Ailey, she's 2.5. And the kids are very different, and I wouldn't have expected that, but Liam's like the soft, sweet soul, and the best way to describe Ailey is she's 2.5, going on 16, a lot of boss energy. She runs the show wherever she goes. And it's just been awesome. Like it's funny how much you develop by becoming a parent, and having to take responsibility and develop, your children. I feel like I've grown so much in becoming a dad, and I know a lot of our colleagues that have been on the podcast have also kind of talked about how they've evolved and changed as being a parent. But it was just one thing that don't, I just didn't expect it.
Yeah. So which one which one is more like you and which one is more like Amy? Or are they a
I
bit a combination of both?
if you take the pure stubbornness of a 2.5-year-old, I think Ailey and I are more like each other. I don't think I was that stubborn. I had a little bit of Liam's sweetness in me.
And
Um,
still do.
but Ailey and I both sometimes, we share in the idea of like, you got to make the mistake by yourself to really learn from it.
Isn't
You
that
know,
true?
like today, my wife was telling me I was bringing my lunch. It was like a little bit of a soupy meal, and I had a Pyrex container. And I'm sorry, I'm going on a tangent here, but it was a Pyrex container, didn't close properly. I had like some of the liquid from my lunch spilling during my train ride in, and Amy was like, "Don't put it in that container." And I was like, I'll be fine." And so I came to work, my shoes were kind of red. I was hoping I didn't spoil my
No.
shirt for the podcast,
Oh
but
my
it's like
gosh.
that's a little bit of stubbornness right there, right? Like take advice when it's given to
Yeah.
you and appreciate it and,
Mhm.
move on from it.
Mhm.
But Ailey and I kind of just need to make those mistakes for ourselves.
I love that. That's cute. So tell me about you growing up. Did you have a big family?
So core family small. I have one sister. She's 4 years older than me. But we had a ton of cousins. Both my mom, well, grandparents on both sides had really big families. So I grew up in North Jersey, just outside of New York City. And we had a ton of family in that area. So I grew up with, you know, massive Christmases, Thanksgivings, Diwali for us. But our core family was small. My dad worked a night shift in production, Monday through Friday, and did real estate on the side to kind of make ends meet. And then my mom was doing lots of jobs. She was a banker, teller. She worked at the post office. And then she went into healthcare and was an ultrasound tech. So I have a lot of fond memories of her getting called in, to go to the hospital at midnight, and I'd want to jump in the car with her and just keep her company on the drive there while she did her ultrasounds on some patients, and driving back with her. And to me, those were like sweet moments to
Mhm.
have one-on-one time with a parent, right? As
Yeah.
a kid, you always are sharing your time with your parents, and so that was like my opportunity to jump in the car and keep her company, and for me to get time with her.
So do you think that inspired you to go into the career that you have, or how did you come to decide that you were going to be a packaging engineer and you wanted to go into this space?
So, Kathy, I am not a packaging engineer.
Oh, okay.
Um,
But you went to Clemson.
I went to Clemson. I was an engineer there. I never stepped foot in the packaging school.
Ah,
So,
okay.
I even helped f- fundraise for the Sunoco Packaging Institute there,
Mhm.
but it is completely haphazard that I'm in the packaging industry for 15 years coming from Clemson. So I was a graduate in 2009. Thought I wanted to go in the financial industry. Was it interning with Bank of America in Wachovia 2 summers heading into the financial crisis. Um, Previously, before that, I had some engineering internships, but job market 2009, was awful, awful, right? Um, People with much more talents than I had were not getting jobs at that time. And so I had a very unique opportunity to go interview for the Dow Chemical Sales program. And I guess knocked it out of the park enough that they hired like 5 people that year in a program that normally has like 15, 20. And so started my career in polyethylene sales. Um, and so that kind of connects me back to how, Charter and Next Generation were such a big part of my early part of my careers. But yeah, that's how I've been in the packaging industry, was a pure collateral
Accident.
damage of the financial crisis.
Yeah. Yeah, and even being at Dow wouldn't necessarily have put you in packaging. You could have been
Yeah.
in other, industries
Yeah.
with polyethylene.
And so if I take the next step, then I got my sales role. I was actually living in Chicago. So coming full circle, and I had literally 6 primary buying accounts and they happen to be charter and next generation, right? So,
Yeah.
that part of the story. And so, some of our colleagues, Brent and Eric and Dave Frecka and Dan, as they may not remember it, but I was like, literally a kid walking into these doors, learning from these people. And so that's why like my connection to the company feels deep, right? I'm
Mhm.
7 years here, but I've been traveling up to these places for more than 15 years now. And so it's a different level of sweetness when, you're working with people you've known for a long time and who've seen you kind of grow up.
Yeah. So any other memories from when you were a little boy? Was there anyone who, really helped shape you or inspired you to wanna go to college, and now you have your MBA too? Where did that ambition come from?
I have a couple kind of interesting role models, but I'll share one. Um, Peter Jennings,
Oh, yeah.
ABC
ABC
News.
News.
Um, to me, like the power of providing comfort and confidence in a troubled moment is like a really key leadership quality. And I always, I grew up, my 30 minutes with my dad to watch the nightly news was, again, a very special moment. And so we watched Peter Jennings um, religiously for years. Um, and that was after he was in his uh, second shift role. And so to me, like I've always aspired to be a orator like Peter Jennings, or, I really love like the broadcasters, and it's just like a phenomenal trait to be able to deliver messages with some just pure clarity. See, he's definitely a role model. Of course, the second one I would say is my father. The best way to describe my dad is literally he can go to a public restroom, do his business next to somebody and walk out as friends.
Wow.
Like have exchanged phone numbers and invited him to like our wedding. And it's crazy. And so
Mm.
like I kind of root it back to just like pure deep curiosity for what ticks and what drives people. And he's like very inquisitive. And even if he knows the answer, I think he's always interested in asking the question.
Mhm.
Um, and so to me, like that, I call it like uh, a a childish innocence to just want to learn and soak up from other people. And that's one of his most defining qualities, and I love it.
Yeah, I can see some of that in you for sure. Yeah, I mean, people, you're interested, you're curious, to get to know other people, and yeah, sounds like you got that from your dad.
You also do that really well too.
Thank you.
I I truly appreciate how when you're trying to garner opinions or perspectives, um, you'll kind of pull back the way you look at it
Mhm.
and get your 360 view and then reformulate your opinion on it.
I know it's a very unusual technique that I've used my entire career. Like my husband jokes around sometimes. He's like, "You can ask the doorman his opinion too," because I like to get opinions from a wide spectrum of people. Not because I need help making the answer, it's because I want to get an informed perspective, and I want to see the implications of important decisions in particular and how it's going to impact people. And so I'll get lots of opinions. It doesn't mean I'm going to listen to everyone, but I sift through all that and then I know what's the right thing. Yeah.
Eh, will you specifically target different people
Yes.
of like where you're going to get completely different answers?
Absolutely. Yes. Cuz I intentionally do that because you kind of know the people who you know well, you know what they're going to say, right? It's the ones that you don't know as well, and but you have to get them to open up to you, right?
Sure.
And that's where the skill is. Because when I'm the CEO asking a question, it's oh what do I think she wants the answer to be? And but if I'm Kathy asking the question, right, then I'm just getting opinions. It's not really a question. It's let me get your opinion on something. And then it's less threatening, right?
Yeah.
It's just an opinion. So, well, let's talk about what, actually, you know what I wanna know? Um, how did you and Amy meet?
Great question. We we lived in Houston. I had
She lived there and you
she
lived there?
Yeah, we both lived there. We
Just
both
randomly.
well, it feels
This is
serendipitous now. This
before you knew each other, you were both living in Houston, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, a little bit of how we got there. I had taken my next role outside of sales with Dow. So, had an opportunity to move to, energy capital of the world,
Mhm.
Houston. Amy had done a fellowship at the University of Texas, MD Anderson, the big cancer hospital down there. And so your Clemson circles, depending on the size of the city, can be really big if you're closer to Clemson, or if you're further away, it becomes pretty small. And so both of us were graduates a couple years apart. And so your social circles kind of just quickly, you're in a group of like 30 that everybody
Mhm.
knows each other. And similar to the question you asked before, both of us love planning activities. And so we were
Ah,
planning Friendsgiving, which is, typically the Saturday before Thanksgiving. And, we had been doing it for a couple years, and finally, like, the butterflies started flying, and I got the guts, like, on one Friendsgiving to ask her out. And, so we had been friends for years before that, and, we've known each other. But I kinda made the first step, and she reciprocated. So we went out on our first date. And then 3 months later, I was like sent to Switzerland to go work for Dow for like 7 months out there. And at that point, your relationships, it's pretty early on. Either you're going to go very serious or you're going to call it quits. Right. And so we decided to, keep it very serious. She came out and visited me. We went to Greece for a few days. So I always joke that our sixth date was in Greece. Um, and so after that, we're- there was like, it was just like a match made in heaven, and we
yeah.
really complemented each other really well. And so
It sounds like it. So she planned all the details of the trip and you just went along, right? She's the planner?
when it comes to travel, it goes in the adventure bucket, right?
Oh,
So
okay.
it is
Okay.
purely my
So you're
my
the
work.
adventure.
I'm like the meals, the places to go check out,
Mm.
the ridiculous things to do. She runs the house, though. I'm like the assistant deputy parent at home. So
I love that. You know, one thing you said about Amy that kind of surprised me is you said she was an introvert.
yeah.
When you meet her, you would not think that.
Yeah. I mean, she's like absolutely beaming with energy,
She
especially when
is.
she knows she's with like my coworkers, right?
Ah.
Because all of our spouses hear things, and then like at the Christmas party, it's like a whole year worth of things I've been telling her. She
Mm.
gets to see everybody, right? So
Mhm.
she knows she has to be on fire then. But she needs to get prepared for that, right? Like
Ah,
she
okay.
needs to go have like her alone time, her time to like get kind of ratcheted up, whereas like I'm on fire all the time,
Yep.
right? Like, and so that's when I know she's, purely an introvert at heart. And in that way we complement each other.
Makes sense. So what do you guys like to do for fun?
Right now, um, obviously parenting runs our life at home, but we are enjoying a few things. We got a membership at the aquarium here. And so if it's
Really?
ever cold
It's
outside,
beautiful there, isn't it?
it's awesome. It's awesome, and it's so fun. I'm speaking to all the parents out that amongst our employee base, but like you get to relive your childhood while you're parenting, right? And so like the joy of taking your fingers and touching a stingray, or seeing the sea lions, or seeing dolphins jump out of the pool, like everything is fun again, right? And so like I almost think about it as heightening your sensitivity to like the beauty of the world. And so the aquarium is something we love to do. We go to the free zoo, Lincoln Park, all the time. It is our happy place. Typically, my son loves to have snow cones spilled all over him when we come back.
Mm.
And right now, I'm not a good golfer. Anybody that's seen me golf will probably laugh at this, but I love playing golf. So I play every Sunday morning at 6 a.m.
Wow.
So
18 holes?
only 9, get back in a reasonable amount of time. And when I introvert myself into why I like golf, it's actually less about the golf, but more of the I love the joy of getting paired up with someone you don't know and getting to learn about them. I love being disconnected for 2.5 hours. Phone is in the bag, it's you and the course.
Mhm.
And so when I think about it, it's not about the actual joy of playing golf. It's actually about all the other things that come along with it.
Mhm. Yeah, that's amazing. I love that too. The Lincoln Park Zoo is on my walking path. I hope I run into you guys there someday, because 'cause I'll walk up there, it's like it's probably maybe a mile up there, and then I'll walk all around the zoo and then, walk back, but it's just great to do that. You see a lot of families up there. Do you ever go there, like, during, when they have the Halloween?
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
you go in the costumes
Oh,
and
totally.
yeah,
And they have an awesome zoo
they
lights.
they do. Yeah,
Um,
a lot of fun stuff up there.
and it's funny, like we have like our little special places we like to go, but we spend like 30 minutes watching the gorillas. Um, because my nickname for Liam is a I call him Monkey all the time, and the
Mhm.
monkeys and the chimpanzees and the gorillas all hang out. So it's just like our spot to kind of tease each other and have
Mhm.
fun watching those animals.
Yeah. So at this point, Apurva, I'm gonna give you an opportunity to ask me a question. Is there anything you wanna ask me?
My first question, and
Oh,
if it's
first.
if I have the opportunity,
Okay. I'm just
um,
teasing.
would be what would you tell your successor?
Mm.
Like, what kind of advice, guidance, um, would you leave them?
Wow, that is a really good question. I would say always remember that the heart and soul of CNG is the people. And people, it's easy to say, people are the most important asset, but to me it's different than that. People are the soul of the company. And so what does that mean? It means that you have to start there. You know, if you start with that assumption that, without the soul of a company, how is the company going to perform, right? And so, with that philosophy, all decisions start with how is it going to impact the people? And if and also it's important to put yourself in their shoes. Like think about things from the perspective of an employee when decisions are made. Now, that doesn't mean that you're always going to have to make hard decisions and you can't make everybody happy all of the time. But if you're leading from a place of understanding that getting the people part right is the most important thing, you're halfway there. Um, I would also say that, you know, we're in the business to make our customers happy. And you can make your people happy, yes, but you always have to be focused on the customer. So it's that balance of, taking care of our customers so that they value the partnership that we have and they feel it and see it and know it when they're talking to our people. And I get that comment a lot from our customers that, when they're talking to CNG employees, they feel that they're important, but they also feel the pride and ownership that our employees have in what they do and how they show up with customers.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. Well, Apurva Shah, it has been an absolute pleasure. I have loved watching your career grow at CNG and how you've blossomed as a father, as you've said, and just the impact that you're having here. You inspire me.
Thanks, Kathy.